In the aftermath of the awakening of the enchanted blade Tobimune, something that we really thought was going to be an amazing thing for the Kamunabi and the protagonist group because it was going to help break that 3-year deadlock they've had with the Hashaku, actually turned out to be one of the biggest stark contrasts and turns in this little war that we're going to have between the Hashaku and the Kamunabi. Things are actually so much worse than we thought. We fought so hard to avoid this crisis. The Swordbearer assassination arc has been nothing but struggle, strife, and effort on the part of people like Chihiro, Hakuri, and the Enchanted Blade Wielders, at least the two of them that we've come to know so far. And yet, we should have seen the signs when Yora was swinging on that horsey on the playground, not worried at all, and saying, yeah, you know what, this seems like it's all kind of going according to plan. Let's just see how things play out. We should have known from the start, because in the wake of the Mikazumi, the ninja group, the elite people that were helping and protecting Somura in that big brawl that was going on at Senkutsuji Temple, they sacrificed everything they could to try and save Aruha, Hakuri, and Aruha, teleport them out of the temple and have them escape. Literally, amongst that, Somura was doing his best to completely derail that entire situation and risk his life to save his men, which commendable, but again, I think the Enchanted Blade Wielders are a little bit more important, but let's get into that a little bit later, shall we? Hakuri eventually risked his brain damage to give Somura back Tobimune, which I did see some confusion in regards to this, so I just want to give a brief explanation. Just as a quick refresher, Hakuri Sazanami has access to the hereditary technique of the Sazanami clan, which is the storage house sorcery, where he's able to mark things with his spirit energy, bring them into his storage house world that is separate, like a separate realm of society. By marking any object that Hakuri pleases, he can teleport them in and out of his storage house depending on how much spirit energy he actually has. After using all of it during the Rakuzachi, he needs to be healed for 30 minutes, which is why he can't use his full power now. The hack that they figured out during the Rakuzachi arc, by marking someone like Chihiro, who has a spiritual connection to their enchanted blade. They are literally contracted and connected at the soul. By marking Chihiro, Hakuri actually gains access to the enchanted blade by proxy and can then teleport something like Enten into his storage house and then back out of his storage house into Chihiro's hands to wield, just because they are technically the same identity. By marking them with their spiritual energy, he immediately creates that connection with Kumayori and Tobimune, even if they're in the Hashaku's hands and grasp. By making that connection with Somura at the end of the last chapter, they were able to immediately teleport Tobimune from the paper crane transport to Somura. And hopefully they are going to be able to do this with all of the Enchanted Blade Wielders. At least that was their goal. We even saw amongst all of this bloodshed, Chihiro evolve his philosophy into someone that was willing to accept his anti-hero role, countering Hirohiko's mindless bloodlust and saying, I am not you at all, and humble the armless Hashaku Jr. And again, after getting Tobimune, Somura was able to completely decimate all of the Hashaku forces and Datenseki Crystal Warriors to the point that veteran sorcerer guy, the tree guy, just wanted to get out of there and leave. He said, oh geez, I'm escaping right now. I'm not dealing with a master enchanted blade wielder. Wondering if he's gonna be in trouble, which makes me question if he even knew what was about to happen. With the tree sorcerer gone and all the Datenseki crystals defeated, Aruha and the others felt comfortable enough to say we've won this battle, to the point that when Hakuri tries to transport Kumayori to Aruha, everyone's like, nah, you know what, you've already stressed yourself enough, we've won, let's just move on. And at this point, everything seemed great, but we've never been so wrong before. Hakuri really just wants to give Aruha Kumayori, but everyone's like, nah, stop, you're not gonna do it. Which is, again, a big flaw. Meanwhile, Somura is overlooking all of the people that died in the temple during the fight, and we focus on this 122-year-old monk, Ro Fura. Unfortunately, it was his first time doing guard, which is just very sad. He came 13 years ago as a young child to be raised here, and then died as his first time as a guard, and he didn't even collect his salary. He sent it to his younger sister back at home. So now, that younger sister is going to have to figure out how to live her life without her brother, and someone that dedicated their whole life to being a monk had to fight in a battle that they probably didn't sign up for. And it's here for the first time where we really see Somura Seiichi struggle and his true beliefs on the value of the Enchanted Blade Wielders' lives, which is going to be expanded on much farther into the story as we see going forward. But even last chapter, we saw a little bit of it with him being willing to risk his life, despite him obviously being an MVP to the Kamunabi and extremely important to the state of the political landscape and just the stability of the country. However, we never really knew the true extent of his self-loathing and his hatred for his fellow enchanted blade wielder. Somura mentions that, as everyone else is celebrating, that this isn't a major win for the Kamunabi and a major turning point for the protagonist group. If anything, this is just the beginning of the war to come. Previously, back during that fight, Chihiro has basically been holding Hirohiko hostage. He has no arms, and Hirohiko has just been spilling all the information that he has without any hesitation about the Hoshaku. They have only 10 members in their group. Their main goal is the Shinuchi, the Magatsumi enchanted blade. They want Yura, their leader of the Hoshaku, to wield that blade in its honor. But we start to trail off topic, and it's something that makes me question how deep Rokuhira's blade goes and how dark it actually got. Hirohiko mentions that in school throughout the country, everybody is taught the sword wielders are great people. The Seitei War was a justified war. Whether or not we know it's propaganda or not, Chihiro even mentions that, yeah, that's basically what I was taught too. Everyone around the country is told how great it was that the enchanted blades were not only made, but that the wielders were there to protect us and help us. However, the Shinuchi, the Magatsumi blade, directly contradicts that, because what the hell was the Magatsumi used for? Because the reality-bending, God-playing, life-altering effects of not just it being used on its wielder, but used on the people that it attacks, to the point that Chihiro even admits that it didn't even seem like Hakori's father was in control of himself. Almost like the Magatsumi wielder, despite wherever he was in control somehow from afar, which being the audience, we also know that. All of this is buzzing in Chihiro's mind, and it has been basically holding him hostage in his mental situation lately, but he hasn't had much time to really think about all of it. He has his doubts, sure, but he wants to believe his father at the exact same time. Hirohiko boasts about the Shinuchi. How could you possibly not think that the enchanted blades could be a bad thing? Now, with all of this logic, maybe the enchanted blade wielders aren't heroes. Maybe they shouldn't be protected. And Chihiro picks up what Hirohiko's putting down. He's like, what, is that what you're saying? And Hirohiko says, oh, I don't really have a strong opinion, but, that's what Somura thinks. And Chihiro even admits that his mind is not really, it's mush at this moment. He just went through an insane battle. He's learned all of this crazy information. Everything is at the heightened of emotions. And it doesn't really click when Hirohiko mentions this. Hirohiko just carries on speaking casually and says that apparently 3 years ago, before Somura went into hiding, he made a contract or a pact with Yura, the leader of the Hoshaku. What that contract may be, we do not know, but confirms something that we've been theorizing for a while, that our trump card, the Hoshaku's trump card, has been a traitor in the swordsman's ranks this whole time. And that traitor is Somura Seiichi, the legendary sword wielder that we've been glazing up for so long. That person who we thought could really do no wrong, completely opposed to the beliefs that the sword wielders are MVPs of society and above the innocent lives of the earth. A true Buddhist take, a very equalist, utilitarian perspective. Chihiro can't even comprehend Somura being a traitor or Somura of being on the other side. But here he goes, we don't have time to think about that right now. Don't worry about it. Let's keep fighting. He picks up his disembodied arm with his teeth, throws it at Chihiro, and by the time Chihiro can even turn around, Kumeyori busts through the glass of the theater and shoots right into Hirohiko's mouth. And of course, we know that the enchanted blades are useless if they're already contracted to another person. Aruha is contracted to Kumeyori, so the only person that can use Kumeyori is Aruha. However, I can't even describe. Hirohiko says Kumeyori's name, and its power emerges instantly, conjuring two faceless geisha spirits that start swirling around the area as the fight between Hirohiko and Chihiro continues. And it signals to Chihiro and us almost immediately the worst possible fears that we could have ever had, cutting away from Somura after finding out that he made some kind of pact with John Hoshaku, Yura the leader. Aruha died. Somehow, some way, in that short moment that we cut away, whether it was a battle broke out and the tree sorcerer came back, or actually was Somura turning his new awakened blade on everybody else. else. Who knows what state Hakuri's in to even keep up with this pact and this amazing idea that we had to find all the different enchanted blade wielders and get them out. We still have 2 blade wielders left we don't know who the status of are, let alone now, from what we thought, we at least broke the deadlock and got 1 sword on our side. The Hishaku didn't just get Kumayori. If we are to believe everything that Hirohiko said, then not only are the Kamunabi down 2 wielders, the Hishaku are up 2 wielders, because now they have both Tobimune and Kumayori on their side. This whole entire situation couldn't have gone better for them, and it makes me so excited to see what happens in the next coming chapters and the rest of this arc, because this was a very critical chapter to everything. We finally got the confirmation that people have been theorizing for a long time that there was a traitor amongst us, and the worst part is we lose 2 beloved characters. Not only has Somura Seiichi, this character that we've loved and grown to think that he was just gonna die because of how cool he was, he's now fallen from grace and is an enemy, and the other guy, Uruha, that we also loved and thought was a pretty cool guy and a badass, is apparently dead. Unless they found some way to transfer an enchanted blade without killing the user, it's pretty clear that for everything that we thought was going good in the cliffhanger last chapter, everything is actually going the worst it possibly could, and all I know is I have no words. I can't even begin to say anything other than Chihiro and Hirohiko is back into play. Whether Hirohiko gets his arms back or not, who knows if Hakuri is also dead, not just Aruha. We're gonna hope that the Mikazumi realize that their master is not on their side anymore and they teleport Hakuri out of there as quick as possible. Maybe we can only hope that the other 2 enchanted blade wielders are willing to not betray us or also not die. But guys, if you are also excited to see what happens in the next chapter of Kagurabachi, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because you know for sure I will be covering it, and any other series you may read weekly or monthly. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Thank you for making it all the way to the end. And other than that, guys, I wish you the best morning for this next week, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.